Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do.
Do your work with ease and speed.
PDF Spaces is all you need.
Do hours of research in an instant
With key insights from an AI assistant.
Pick a template with a click.
Now your prezzo looks super slick.
Close that deal? Yeah, you won.
Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that
with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. The top 14, Pro D2 and Nationale, French national team Nibbles, and particularly this week. But then in future weeks, we'll be talking Challenge and Champions Cups, with, of course, a sizable sprinkling of the brilliant town cities, bars, restaurants, people, fans, stadiums, everything that makes the French rugby experience, the French rugby game so wonderful. Rob, the Po hats on backwards. Angoulême underneath, sort of subtle. Kind of like, when you hear about people maybe doing the work with their trousers off, like you can't really see beneath the surface, but they're relaxed deep down. That Angoulême logo is doing it for me.
I very nearly, and then I realised my error, very nearly ended up wearing my UBB jumper, and I thought that would be rubbing salt into the wounds for you, Richard. So I thought, no, Saxby were on the YouTube on Thursday, so I thought I'd still celebrate, still bask in that glory.
Angoulême as well. I've in the last few days, this week, I've seen quite a few bits of new stash being produced by a few different sides. And Angoulême, they've got some quite nice, less purple, more kind of like maroon coloured items they've brought out. I feel like they're really expanding their range.
Still need to get my hands on one of those cream t-shirts with the like some purple, like squiggly stuff on it.
Yeah, they are quite
early season.
They are quite cool. I don't want to ruin it for you though, but ever since I saw the picture of the cannon on it, does look a little bit like a sort of cartoon drawing of a condom. And I can't get it out of my head now. So next time you have a look, see if you maybe my puerile mind is too far gone.
I'm therefore fully expecting that from you this week as a birthday present. You shouldn't have told me. You should have kept it you should have bought it for me as a birthday present and then revealed next week. Joke's on you because I bought you a Johnny t-shirt.
A Johnny shirt. Yeah, perfect. But Rob, how have you been? What's news?
What is news? The big news over the weekend, the realisation that I am less than 18 months younger than Joe Marler. He's July 1990. I was like, wow, that can't be right. Surely. But yeah, my girlfriend was reminded by her mum that Joe Marler was pretty much a year older than her. Basically,
I'd like. What was the is that just as a little factoid, or is there sort of
just because obviously he's in the public eye at the moment quite a lot because of the Traitors. So, and we're big fans, and they're big fans. So
okay,
and he's from their neck of the woods, southeast kind of.
Is that Sussex, right?
He's from Sussex. Yeah, he's from East Sussex.
That's where the comparisons between you and Joe Marler end. It's like southern England. That's about it.
Yeah. I just can't believe that he's 18 months older than you. Which, I mean, you've got a beard to match him almost, but I just think maybe that's what 4 kids does to you.
80 England caps.
Scrummaging for 95 England caps he's got. He's in the top 10.
Is that how many? Wow, that's remarkable as well, given he had that sort of like interim retirement, didn't he?
Got quite a few more than Mako Vinopola. I guess he probably came on the scene maybe a bit earlier. I don't know, but yeah, he's in the top 10 most capped all time. Anyway, this is a French rugby podcast, not a Joe Marler, not a Traitors one. If we say Traitors enough, do you reckon it'll like come up? And then it'll be like we'll get tagged as like a Traitors podcast, and suddenly we'll get an influx of
your black hoodie might work.
Yeah,
I don't know, mate. Don't know,
mate. If I put my glasses on, I can do a mean Alan Carr impression with the hood on.
don't. I'm not sure I want to see that.
How was your weekend? Your weekend was much more interesting than that.
Yeah, I must admit I've seen very little and thought very little about anything to do with French rugby in the last few days. I've been in Stockholm. Yeah, went out, bit of a sort of last minute late-ish kind of organised trip. Got some cheap flights, which was great, and very lovely place. I don't know if you've ever been. I went once before with a few mates of ours 10 years ago. Safe to say, slightly
how
different.
long ago it was?
Yeah, 10 years back.
Wow.
So safe to say, slightly different affair this time round. Managed to cover a bit of ground, some nice food, nice scenery, architecture, about 1 million museums. I only went in one of them, but like I've never seen so many museums. So if you're after a bit of sort of Scandic history and culture and ethnography, you name it, is there. Yeah, very enjoyable.
Any specific food highlights?
Food highlights on the first afternoon. We went into this restaurant, had their sort of like lunch of the day thing, which they said was very traditional Swedish. Thought we'd give it a whirl. And they're called. It's called like a. This sounds like I'm lying. They are called a crop kakor, which is a crop kaka. Yeah, which sounds like, well, I don't know what it sounds like, but it's basically a sort of potato dumpling that's stuffed with like some sort of slow cooked like fatty pork. Basically, imagine like
the
really nice
thing that Fabien Gaultier was judging.
No, far less large than that. But imagine basically like a really nice bit of bacon wrapped in like really buttery mashed potato in like a dumpling format, and then sort of fried off with some sort of gravy and a bit of that IKEA lingonberry stuff. Yeah, it was feckin' delicious. Wow. Absolutely amazing. Bit of pickled herring, that was very nice. And a few other bits and bobs. Very agreeable. The only issue we had the whole weekend was trying to get back out of Arlanda Airport, which is maybe one for people to be aware of if they haven't had the pleasure of the new EU like entry exit system at an airport, where they have to take like a photo and do your fingerprints, which on the way in is fine because you're just in a queue as you normally would be. On the way out yesterday, with 4 UK bound flights within 45 minutes, there were people like climbing over barriers, and it was pretty spicy. So that aside, a very nice weekend.
Well, something that's we'll need to bear in mind this weekend, Richard.
We're
coming on to that later.
Let's do it we'll do it in a moment. We'll scoot through the top 14, of which, as I say, I've not seen masses of. Rob, you're our top 14 correspondent this weekend. A vintage round?
No.
Cool. We'll leave it there. No, go on.
No, I mean, I actually thought the La Rochelle Racing game was quite good, and from what I've seen, the Toulouse Stade Francais game was pretty good, and the Castres game was pretty good. But the Toulon Lyon game was a
blowout, wasn't it?
Non-event. Yeah, and then obviously the thriller / whatever you want to call it happened at Montpellier. That happened.
It is lovely to sometimes just see not many points on a result at the end of the day. I did watch some of the highlights of this, and I don't quite know what the situation was, but I was expecting to see conditions akin to that Cast Van game last year, where it was like, people essentially, you can't see the other side of the pitch, and as far as I could tell, like it was dry.
It's like the Saxe v Provence game last year. It was 6-6 on a dry pit on a plastic
pitch. Yeah.
The Po game was, it was wrapped up, and then they kind of conceded. There's quite a few late tries that denied or earned bonus points. So obviously Cast got one. So I guess it's quite good in that respect. Maybe I haven't seen enough of it. But Cast got one, USAP got one to get their first points of the season. Montalban also got a late try to avoid a nilling away at Bayonne, which is, that's not great. Stade Francais also got a late try that denied Toulouse an attacking bonus point, which I guess is pretty impressive. And Cast obviously got the late one to actually get a bonus point as well.
Yeah, nice.
Now, Richard, you asked, has there been anything of note? Have you seen, give him the award now, the own try of the season winner? I cannot believe there will be a better one than this.
Who was it?
It was in the Toulouse v Stade Francais game.
Oh no, I haven't seen any of it.
Oh,
was it Macalou?
No, but Noah Nene scored it. So Clément Verger, who actually had a pretty good game. There's like a grubber that goes through, and he's facing kind of basically towards his own corner flag, and he's tried to kick the ball out. The ball's on the floor. He's tried to fly hack it into touch, and he has inadvertently booted it from the edge of the 22 over the try line, and in a foot race with Juan Cruz Malia, Noah Nene gets there first. And they have to review it, but it's a clear put down. It is honestly, it's like a pass back. You know when like you see like a it's like one of those, or like when they pass to the goalkeeper's not in the goal. It's a little bit like one of those.
God, that sounds
genuinely,
amazing.
I genuinely don't think. At one point, I thought they were going to chalk it off, and I was devastated. I genuinely think that won't be beaten.
Give him the
golden buff now.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Although Leo Carbonneau did try to recreate the a more simple version of Down Avuku one from last year. He basically passed the ball to Greg Aldrit, and Greg Aldrit dropped it. But
amazing.
Yeah, the Clément Verger, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. There's not enough made of it on commentary either by Robbie Knock. I thought he'd be loving it. But it's fantastic.
Oh, I have to give that a whirl. Exciting.
On a serious note, though, Noah Nene is playing really, really well and getting game time. He's scoring tries. That is a bit of a freak try, but I think he's now 5 tries for the season. He looks really good in defence, really good over the ball. Yeah, I think he's looking really good. I'm worried about his centre partner, Jeremy Ward, though, who took a nasty clattering with the sideboards. In the case of Karma, he kind of pushed Ange Capozzo when they kind of went into touch, and then Ange Capozzo pushed him back, and he kind of slammed Ish into the sideboards, and then was down, clutching his back for quite a while.
Oh, really?
And then kind of like limp. You know when you like, there's a limp, and it's like he's trying to work out what sort of limp he should do, and like he's kind of ends up kind of rubbing his back and a little bit of like a hop, and yeah, I found it quite like to be down for that long. You've got to be like at the hands of Ange Capozzo when you are renowned as like a big hitting centre. I think you've got to come up with something to save some dignity.
Very good. One kind of little factoid on this game. There was the son of a former French international who made his debut. Did you see this?
Is it Raphael Portat?
Ooh, no. Well, it might be. I don't know.
No, in that case, it's the other bloke, Maran. Can't remember his name now.
Well, the one I've got here. Sorry, I was just looking at Raphael Portat. So he's come back from being on loan with Provence, as was Malachi Hawks, right?
Yeah.
Who was, I believe, was the replacement hooker in this game.
He was.
I know he's played all across the front row, but yeah, it's interesting.
He's got Romeo Martin Bonnard.
Yes, who is the son of Remy Martin.
Is he?
The former Stade Francais, blonde-haired back row.
Ah.
Yeah, saw a picture on Instagram today of him with his son. Yeah, there we go.
Was he any good,
Remy Martin? Yeah,
I know my mum was a big fan of his because of his name. It's just
he's blonde and he likes brand. Yeah, he likes.
His name is a cognac.
I kind of always assumed that he was maybe that wasn't his name, a bit like Jack Russell in cricket.
Yeah.
Like that it's just sort of, his name was Remy, and so they added Martin, but like it is all the other way around, and it just is his name. I think he was, I don't think he'd go down as like a legend, but I think he was part of a very good Stade Francais team.
Yeah, he was.
And played I think he played 2007 World Cup as part of that squad as well.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So yeah, decent enough. So yeah, another one coming through.
Talking of players whose dad played for France, I've been underwhelmed the last few weeks by Leo Carbonneau, who was actually his dad was actually in the stands at La Rochelle, Philippe Carbonneau. But this is the game I've seen the most of, and Racing were not great, and I think it partly comes from Carbonneau's service. Mertz gave Ugo Sons, who we've given big raps to, he gave him big build up, and Ugo Sun did not have his best game. It was a mixed bag. He was still pretty good, but he also made some quite obvious errors. But Racing now have not scored a try in the last 2 games, and they've only scored 21 points in 160 minutes of rugby, which is
very un-Racing.
0 tries and only 21 points in 2 games is not great.
I also saw that, so that's remarkable. That's 2 in a row, because I'd need to dig it out. Maybe when we have our little mid-innings break, I'll try and find it. But that game against Po, when they didn't score a try, was the first in, I don't know, something like 80 games or something, that the first time they'd never not scored a try, which I guess particularly when figures particularly when you play indoors. But it's interesting, not least given some of the names in the back line, which doesn't exactly scream kind of conservative rugby.
Well, another player that I definitely don't think we've seen the best of, has done pretty next to nothing so far, is Ravel Tarmander, who is, comes with a big reputation. And I still think the best Fijian they've got outside of Tuisova is Hambosi. I think he's their best non-Tuisova Fijian by quite some way. And he wasn't playing. It was Naituvi and Ravel Tarmander. They did
played much though, has he?
I think it was only his second game, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he's not really shown anything, really. They did have a name I hadn't seen before. Debut for Vladi Ashvetia, 20-year-old Georgian centre, who came from Racing, came from Massey a few years before.
Nice.
But talking of Fijians and Fijian centres that are new, Semi Langavala started to show what he's capable of. He looked quite good. I thought Antoine Hastoy was really good. Justice for Antoine, get him in the France squad. He's playing really well. I'm going to keep banging the Antoine Hastoy drum. I just feel sorry for him. But yeah, it was a decent game. Neni Ashvili was pretty good. Skelton was good at times. There is a brilliant try from Dylan Lades that involves Jack Knoll through the middle. That is possibly of the games I've seen, probably the try of the round. But yeah,
very nice.
I watched this. I was watching this in bed last night, and my girlfriend asked me who I was supporting, and I kind of didn't really know who. I was kind of like, well, this guy used to play for Poe, and I quite like him. Their coach is Irish. He's he's quite good fun. They've got cool kit, but then there's a lot of English people.
Got Jack Knoll.
Yeah, I thought that. Like next to boy, they've got a few. But then Racing have got a few like English guys. They've got, and then I basically started explaining to Ugo Sun. It's like, look how young this guy looks. Look how light he is. And I think I probably landed on just being an Ugo Sun supporter, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Despite being a fan of Antoine Hastoy.
Give it a couple of years and everyone's going to be an Ugo Sun supporter.
I think it's quite rare, though, in the top 14 that I'm genuinely neutral. I think I went into that game genuinely neutral. And I think that's rare. Normally, like someone has pissed me off in the weeks before and therefore don't want them. Which to be fair, last year was both of these sides at times. Certainly, when La Rochelle was shit, that was great fun, thinking they were shit. But talking of teams that are going through, who are shit and going pretty badly, Montpellier are now officially crap again.
We need to have like a kind of theory for this, like an actual name for Rolf's Montpellier theory. That is, the better they play, like the worse. Basically, like a hangover, right? Like the bigger and better the night out, the worse it is when it all falls apart.
We need like one of those old school like 90s game show swingometer things.
Yeah, nice.
To be like, where are Montpellier? They're like, currently they are almost going full circle shit. So you can fully expect come round 10 at the back end of November, they're probably going to stick 100 points on whoever they're playing.
Probably cast going to them by that point. But yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? The team that absolutely hammered Toulouse and La Rochelle have decided, can't. Well, they've gone, 2 games in a row where they haven't scored a point before the 74th minute?
Jesus.
Which is wild, isn't it? So yeah,
They go away to Perpignan. Bit of a derby.
Perpignan. Maybe that's. Have we got anything else like game wise to talk about? Because otherwise, Perpignan. You mentioned they've got their first point. That's probably the most interesting story to come out of the top 14 in the last few days. So I think we mentioned it last week, right? But Laurent Lebitte has been confirmed, hasn't he? As the. I don't know if it's. I get so confused between the different kind of rolled names of like director of sport, director of rugby, basically
head coach, I think.
Head honcho, Laurent Lebitte. Bit of English Rosbiff recognition for Joe Worsley, who we'd heard sort of a little bit on the grapevine was maybe stepping back from, at least for a short period of time, kind of coaching in France, given the years he's been out there, and coming back to the UK. But the Perpignan gig, obviously a pretty tricky one to turn down as defence coach. And then I think the kind of big name who we've actually spoken about a fair bit over the last few weeks is Nicolas Nadal, who was obviously big fallout at Grenoble, which resulted in the threat of strikes from the players after, ironically, their loss away to Brive, only whatever it is, like a month ago, give or take. And it's moved pretty quickly, and he is now in line to he's backs coach, right? If I'm not mistaken, he was certainly backs coach at Grenoble, or attack coach, So interesting state of affairs.
Yeah, I think we're quite used to Laurent Lebitte now, but like just to kind of clarify, like just how good his CV is. You know, he won top 14 with Racing, which was a long time coming. He was a key part of the setup Gaultier was basically given kind of fantasy rugby kind of picks of which coaches he wanted for the 2023 World Cup, and Laurent Lebitte was his forwards coach. Laurent Lebitte then went to Stade Francais and was brilliant in that first season at Stade when they got to, they were second in the league. And then it kind of started to go a little bit wrong kind of last season, and he kind of stepped back, and it was all a bit, I guess that's kind of that's his latest stuff on his CV, is kind of the unravelling at Stade Francais last year, which wasn't fantastic, but he comes with I think he won top 14 with Cast, actually.
Yeah, it did. I think when they won in 2013, and Laurent Travers.
Yeah. So he's a kind of couple of times top 14 winner with clubs that don't always win it, which is quite impressive. He has clearly got quite a big job to do at Perpignan, because something's not right there. It's not quite clicking. I think the fact they got a point away at Po kind of gave up by the looks of things, but it's positive.
I do feel there might be, and I haven't seen masses of them, but they were pretty good for a period against Lyon before they lost quite comfortably away there. That's probably about 4 weeks ago, give or take. Like they actually pushed them till quite deep, and then it all sort of unraveled a little bit. Obviously lost to Bordeaux, which doesn't look great when it's the fourth time you've lost at home in a row, but Bordeaux are an excellent team in another season. That probably doesn't raise too many eyebrows. And obviously they lost at Montauban, which again, Montauban have for the most part been pretty good at home. And the fact they've got this point away at Perpignan, it makes me think that perhaps, at Po, I don't know, 1 point is scant return, and it's a long way back they're coming from to even, to basically, I mean, they've got to make up 5 non-bonus point wins on the team that are in 12th, I think, like roughly. It's such a long way back, but I do wonder if there's just like a little glimmer, a little bit of new life. So to Alangi back first start, was it at the weekend? Just maybe things turning.
They needed 10. They really needed 10.
They're all injured, aren't they? Like, haven't they got 4 injured 10s or something? Because Tedder went down, I think.
Tedder is injured. McIntyre's still injured. Alcagna is still injured.
Still injured.
Tommy Allen is there, but I don't.
He'll be off
to go. To
play with Italy. I don't know who's.
And Del P's obviously gone back. Well, Del P was who they had last year. He was fantastic.
He's at Colomiers, tearing up.
He's now at Colomiers, yeah. So that's pretty drastic. They are one of 2 teams to deny deny Perm an attacking bonus point at home this season. Them and Toulouse. So basically, Perpignan or Toulouse. There you go. Heard it here first. I think on a serious note, like they've been in similar positions before. I think 23-24 season, they were kind of going into Christmas. They barely won a game. They were quite a long way behind Oyonnax, who ended up very adrift that season. And that was the year that I went down to that game, and they had the home game against Clermont. They'd been unbeaten all season. They played Clermont off the park and somehow lost. But had they won that game, they were within a shout of like the top 6, let alone Champions Cup. Yeah. So they have in previous years had these runs in the second half of the season that have lifted them higher than, they've been staring at the barrel going into the final, or going into Christmas basically. And then they've pulled themselves out of it. Last year, I think the competitiveness of the league meant that, Van and Stefan Say were there with them. But I think in another year, that probably would have got them fairly safe. But
it'd be interesting to see.
So it's not all doom and gloom for Perpignan.
No, I agree. I agree. And there is, as we've discussed a few times, like there is, notwithstanding when you don't have a 10 or you're very thin on the ground, there are some real quality top 14 and international players, and if they can find a way, I at least think I don't think there are going to be that many more wins at the Emmy Giral would be my prediction. I feel like
they've actually had some pretty easy fixtures, haven't they? All things considered. Other than Bordeaux, Bayonne I guess are good, but they've never been. They're a bit hot and cold away, but they've had some. Montpellier is the next one. Like that, if they lose that at Emmy Giral, that's
not good.
That's not good. You'd like to think they get a new man of bounce there.
Yeah, Montpellier, who should in theory the
swingometer's coming back round.
Swingometer should still be. It'll be like 2. Surely that'll be the lowest point of the swingometer, right?
Clock, it's kind of gone past 3 o'clock. It's almost down at like 6 o'clock. So next time it's going to be like very, very, very good.
Okay. Oof. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Hoggy will be, he's got a game under his belt.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. Absolutely wrong another bloke.
all the Crims were playing on Saturday. They probably deserved to lose.
Was it the Crim 15? Was it?
Yeah, they were all in the. They were all in the 23.
Speaking of which,
on the bench, and
I saw something? Isn't Bernard Laporte in hot water over something again? Is he still involved in Montpellier?
Possibly.
I saw he is up because he's had some affairs that have sort of, or allegedly, he's kind of, I don't know.
But he was meant to go to jail, wasn't he?
I think he was. So, they've got the criminal mastermind up top.
He genuinely looks like a Bond villain, like criminal mastermind, doesn't it? It's so good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway. Anything else on the top 14? There is a game, bizarrely, this weekend because of the ridiculous storms that basically put the Stade Félix Mayol underwater a couple of months ago. So Toulon host La Rochelle.
Actually, I think we said last week, like, good time for Toulon to get them. But, I don't know how many of these guys are going to get released. I assume, because ordinarily, guys like Aldrit, Olivon's been called into the squad. These guys are not going to, and Dreyan, if they're not playing, there wouldn't be a game, so they would stay with the squad. I don't know whether, because there is a game with their club side, whether they'll get released at all. I don't actually know what's been announced, but there's a high chance that both sides could be missing some players. I think La Rochelle have seemed to be developing this kind of base level of their younger players that all seem to be around 22, 23, and then there's a few younger ones that seem to be coming off the bench, but they're building quite nicely. But it's at the Mayol.
I did see
just unreal, and Serran will be playing, so give him man of the match now.
I did also see that I don't think Roland O'Gara is particularly impressed with the scheduling and might be sending a real changed up team. Well, I don't know. I would say when there's like a freak natural weather event like that, I don't know what else you're supposed to do, to be honest. But I don't know. He likes to. He does like a few histrionics. Maybe he's got a point. Probably not on at least on that one. All right.
That's the first block of top 14 fixtures done. What I was thinking the other day, and we don't need to go into this in too much detail, just a random question. Who has been the player of the top 14 this season? Because I think this time last year, you could have, we would have been like Mangala. Mangala has been far and away the best player in the league. And then also you kind of like, oh, but Jack Willis is really good. But I think Jack Willis has been quite quiet this year. So it's not like he's kind of fully continued his form. And I couldn't really think of like the standout player in the top 14 this season.
Yeah.
Deporter or Jalabert, maybe?
Deporter's been very good and played a lot, hasn't he? Serran, as ever, has been excellent when he's played.
Joe Simmons, MBE.
Joe Simmons, I would say, add to that, I know there's a bit of hype in there, but Calvin Gorge has been outstanding. And then the other guy who is maybe a little bit left field, but I think certainly in terms of impact in the team he's playing in, is Harry Plummer at Claremont. He's made a really big difference. Yeah, it's one of those. I saw someone commenting on this the other day, basically saying, I don't know what the sort of Claremont connection is, but yeah, this guy, Harry Plummer's gone to Claremont and started playing like prime Dan Carter. And then there's a French guy like, well, Bello's gone to Northampton and started playing like, I don't know, prime like Michalak or something. You're like, that sort of revolving door of Clermontens is an interesting one.
Here are the names that I had, and I'm not saying any of these in particular. Cramont, Kapia, Nucci, Oradu, Joe Simmons, Sam Simmons, Winicolo. You're going to love this one. Paul Grau, Teo Entamac, Carbonell, Sagons. But I didn't have Plummer. I think that's actually quite a shout, Harry Plummer. I think he is the highest point scorer.
Is he?
I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, they've hammered teams at home, haven't they?
Yeah. It would have been Nucci if he'd been fit, I think. I think there hasn't been a standout. I think it's actually been a really competitive.
Yeah,
it's been really competitive. The fact that Toulouse aren't miles ahead is always a good sign.
Yeah, agreed.
It's not Toulouse and Bordeaux miles ahead of everyone.
Very good. Alrighty, big fish to fry in a moment. France v South Africa. Back in a sec. Okay, Rob, a year on, or give or take a few weeks, a year on from our first trip to the Stade de France. Very fortunate to be heading back, albeit for slightly separate, slightly different schedules, weekends, but we'll both be at the France-South Africa game this weekend. So I guess, number one, having been before, what are you looking forward to most, aside from the match itself?
I am looking forward to I think because I'm going with a non-rugby fan, I think the pre-game show. So like to show to someone that, this is okay. I think like you don't have to be a rugby fan to appreciate that pre-game light show, the anthems, that sort of thing. I think that for anyone that is interested in stuff, I think you're probably you can appreciate that. I think really I'm looking forward to shitloads of Jet Van Set in the street party afterwards, but there we go. There's my diplomatic answer is the pre-game. What about you, Richard?
Well, I'm also looking forward to that. Although last year we were slightly spoiled with that kind of spotlit hacker, which was incredibly cool. What I'm looking forward to is, France have just, I think as of today, they've just released a new kit range. So there's a new shirt, new training kit, which is sort of like a purpley, like grey purple, which I'm not
They've been wearing that recently, yeah.
I'll be honest. But they have introduced an unbelievable like retro long sleeve, which is straight out the top drawer, and I hazard a guess might be quite hard to come by, because I don't think that's going to be hanging around for very long. So I'm looking forward
I've already seen a photo of Anton Dupont, and then it's next to, I think, Emile Entamac. So it's like a proper... It's very, very similar to one of the classics from like the mid 90s that France, like the Blanco Cellar.
You'll recognise it as soon as you see it. It's pretty iconic. I'm looking forward to a fruitless attempt to get my hands on one of those.
How much is it? Do you know?
€80.
Is it? That's actually steal.
Well, I don't know about steal, but I'd say it's pretty.
I was expecting 150.
Given the price of some of the stuff, in this modern world, I would say that seems fair.
Because that sky blue round neck jumper last year was like €80 or €90.
Okay,
the one that was glorious, and I was like, that is And then like the prices, I was just like, I can't justify that.
Yeah.
Whereas the jersey is like, that's a proper bit of kit, that.
Yeah, assuming that's
Rather
like
than
a
just a jumper.
nice chunky cotton. Who knows? Yeah, that side. I mean, it looks brilliant. But we'll see if we can get our mitts on one of those. France, South Africa, first time two sides have met, I think, since the World Cup. Don't think anyone's mentioned that at all in the build up to this game. But
What
yeah,
happened
it
in
should
that
be.
game? Is Quagga Smith playing with his invisible hands again?
I don't know. I actually watched back some of it the other day because when I did watch it, it was, I mean, one, it was 2 years ago, and two, it was in a pub, and I sort of it was as difficult as it was for the French. It was quite a remarkable game.
Yeah,
and actually, I think some of the prevailing narrative since are maybe not quite as accurate, and I think it just was a ridiculously high standard game with a few things that went like one way rather than the other. And actually, like, I saw someone saying that Mathieu Jalibert couldn't have been worse. He was excellent, bar that amazing slice. And the South African scrum was brilliant, but it wasn't quite as overpowering as, say, it was in that 2019 final against England. Yeah, interesting. But for France, we spoke at length a week or two ago about the squad, and I don't think there have been too many surprises since then, with one exception, which is that obviously Gregory Aldrit was released back to his club. We mentioned him playing for La Rochelle this weekend just then, which I think we both said that we probably wouldn't have had him as the starting eight for this one. But that no part of me did not think, well, I'd say no part of me didn't think he'd be involved. There was no part of me that thought Gaultier wouldn't have him at 8. So it's a big call, because he was captain, wasn't he, after obviously Dupont got injured in the Six Nations. He's been the most permanent fixture, I'd say, in that 15 for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's a massive call. So I don't know if you've got any kind of thoughts on that. And I think you said you've seen a little bit of what they're maybe looking at for the 23.
It's a midi-Olympique probables, which is normally quite accurate. Adotio or Gross. That's got to be Gross, surely.
I would have thought so.
Marchand, Regis Montagne. Second row of Flamand and Miarthu. The back row is Boudon, Gelanche, Guillard.
Yeah.
The scrum half is split. It's either Legaric or Luku. Entomac at 10. Fiku and Barassi in the centres. Bielbiere, Peno, Ramos. And then the bench is Cramon at hooker, and then the other one of Baptiste Adotio Gross, Aldeguiri at tight head, Oradu, Talfa Fanua, Jegu, Legaric or Luku, and Deporter. So it's 6-2. I would like to see Deporter starting, but other than that, I think Gross should start, and I would personally like to see Luku start.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with
even though he's not got much game time under his belt. I'm surprised Jegu's not starting, but I'm perfectly happy with that back row.
Yeah, I think I think Boudon is pretty much, he feels like the nailed on man, doesn't he? Like, regardless. And then I mean, we spoke about him before. Guillard was, I thought, amazing at 8 during the series against the All Blacks. And Gelanche has been, feels like, back to somewhere near his best this season and the back end of last, because he had some horrible injuries.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of that's, none of it's too surprising at all, is it? Big Roman Tau carries on a few games. I guess when you're
so he seems to get injured in every game as well. Like, I don't know how he's doing it.
Yeah, he does. He seems to be injured, and then sort of, basically just gives him a breather for the next week. So he comes back and goes hell for leather for 25 minutes, which I guess is probably what they're looking for here. But yeah, I think after that kind of initial squad, that feels sort of, I'll say, with the exception of Aldrit, I suppose as we felt it might go. One bit of the news that came out a couple of days ago, which I think is, I don't know how much of a difference this makes, but one of the big positions going in that has felt like a problem for France has been at tight head, right? And Montagne and Aldeguiri, it's not perfect. But apparently Oxenche is out for like a pretty extended period of time, who has probably been the most dominant scrummager in certainly loose head scrummager for quite some time. So I don't know whether there's a little psychological thing involved there that could be good for the French. Yeah, I don't know too much about this South African team. I'm really excited to see Sasha at 10.
I've barely seen him because he doesn't. The games I've seen for the Stormers, he doesn't play.
Yeah, he's played it.
He's not played much Champions Cup.
They took him to the Scarlets 2 weeks ago, and they beat him 40-0 at Parky Scarlets, which was felt a bit unfair. But I did see a decent chunk of that. The sort of not burst onto the scene, but maybe the affirmation game against Argentina, where he scored 37 points on his own, which is pretty outrageous, including a hat trick. So yeah, incredibly excited to see him against Roman Ntamack, who's been in fantastic form as well.
Has been in really good form. And we should say, if you're new to listening to this podcast, me certainly, and Rich, you slightly to a lesser extent, have been Ntamack skeptic in the past. And I think he has been brilliant. I've got slightly annoyed, and not because I think this should happen, but I thought I was going to give you an outrageous call a couple of weeks ago. Midweek, I was going to get one of the many random stream of consciousness messages that you get from me during the week, Richard. I was going to say I'm not ruling out Oridu at 7 for France, which it feels less. I'm not saying it should happen, but it just feels very Gaultier to have a work rate, unbelievable line out athlete at 7. Who's not is the complete antithesis of what English people would think of a 7, or I guess South Africans would think of an open side flanker, a 6 in South Africa. He's the antithesis of Quacker Smith, isn't he? Or Heinrich Brosseau back in the day, or Schalkberger. Now I know what you're thinking, Richard. There is one newer face in that starting lineup in the France squad. Which player in that France squad in that team that I've just read out has the fewest amount of caps
in the starting 15?
Yeah, just mentioned him with respect to Oxenche.
Montaigne.
What now? I know you want to know more about Regis Montaigne, don't you?
Go on.
Well, I can tell you. What do you think his nickname is? And I'll give you a clue. It's not Hall of Mirrors George Martin, which is our nickname for him.
And it's not just the mountain.
No.
Okay. Regis Reggie Cray niche.
His nickname is the Panda.
The Panda.
The Panda. Yeah.
It's not very threatening, is it?
because he was having trouble sleeping and had to take naps during the day.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's a shame. The ox. The ox against the snoozing panda.
So it sounds like he's a bit of a character from the little profile I read on Midi Olympique. Steve Blanc-Paz, former Grenoble stalwart, used to laugh at his looks, and apparently he wasn't rated at Grenoble for a while. People thought it was quite funny when he left to join the top 14, but he's kind of always backed himself, and it was kind of there's there's a few famous examples of this, but the bloke that's always backs himself, and everyone's like, yeah, sure, mate, give it a rest. Turns out he's actually quite good. He loves investing in gadgets. So a physio once told him that the best investment that he can invest in is to invest in himself, and therefore has kind of looks after himself so he's got all the physio gadgets. When he moved to Clem, first thing he did was install a gym at his home. Now, what did the Panda used to do as his job when he was in the Espoirs at Grenoble?
What, is in an actual job?
He supplemented his Espoirs salary with an actual job. He had to get up early to do it.
Did he work in a bakery or something like that?
He was a truck driver for wholesale deliveries.
Really?
Yeah, I think from what I can gather, delivering fruits and veg, going to Smithfield Market sort of thing, and picking up all the fruit and veg and driving it around. He did get the nickname the truck driver, and he could name the make, model and name of passing trucks, apparently. More recently, he's been investing in, not just himself, he's been investing in cryptocurrency. And apparently Barnaby Massa was getting his ear chewed off the other day by Regis Montaigne talking about how he'd been listening to Warren Buffett about the price of gold versus the price of Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
It sounds like I've made the entirety of the last 5 minutes up, but that is from an article in Midi Olympique in Rugby Rama.
It sounds like you sort of asked for, asked ChatGPT for a sort of rounded view of a characterful modern French prop. Did a wholesome job, likes a bit of crypto, bit weird, snoozes.
Yeah. Could you give me an obscure nickname? Panda.
The panda. Wow. Well, I look forward to seeing the panda in the flesh, and maybe next week we can dissect the panda's performance. Fantastic. Cult status is incoming.
But Richard, who's going to win?
Oh, I think South Africa are going to win. This is my honest thought. I think having played a lot more together in the last few months, I think that's massive. Maybe by a score. I would love to see, because I think, obviously for the sort of putting to bed the wrongs of a couple of years ago, it'd be amazing to be there when France win. I think the South African side it seems a little bit more settled, maybe a little bit more in form, and perhaps, maybe with the exception of Entrées missing slightly fewer of their very biggest hitters. But yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon?
I'm inclined to agree with you. I think my gut is saying South Africa win. Just feel, and this is a bit of a cliche, just feels that like the last couple of years, like under Rassie Erasmus, it just feels like if they try something weird, it just works. They like with the whole setting up a line out in the middle of the field effectively last year, or like it's now like Esterhazen at flanker, and it just everything seems to like work no matter what they do. So, and I think France just aren't at the level of like that synchronicity at the moment, because they won't be, and they won't have, because Luku's not got much game time. They've not got Dupont. The centres, they don't quite know their best combination, as good as Fiku is. And I think it's good that he's captain. I think that helps a lot. But yeah. And like the form that Ntamack and Ramos, that's the thing. I think if guys like Ntamack, Ramos, BLBRA, they are their match with Penno. Like Penno's been a bit crap recently, but with BLBRA or Ramos and Ntamack, it feels like you're kind of hoping that they have a good day and it pulls something off. And I think if you're in that level of like hoping our best players have a stormer, you're Scotland basically. I've been there, and it in the big games, it quite often doesn't lead to something glorious. Yeah,
we'll see. Really, I'm really interested to see it though, and I think if we look at, it's obviously a while back now, but like France's performance against Ireland in the Six Nations, and maybe Ireland aren't quite as strong as we thought at that point, but that if they can get as a big arse somewhere near that performance, I think that'll cause enormous issues. And I do think the Untitled thing, only going to play a half, but maybe slightly less dominant at the scrum than perhaps anticipated. But
yeah, they've been trying
a few
new faces, haven't they? Like
South Africa bled in a few guys recently
in the front row.
Yeah, they've had I can't remember the lad who's been called up now, who is like 150 kilos.
Oh, yeah.
He played for the Barbars the other week. Yeah, I don't know what he's like. It'd be cool to see him play. But yeah, I feel like a few of these guys are coming in and like proper duck to water stuff as well. Like Ethan Hooker has looked amazing, the bits I've seen. And you mentioned it there, like Esterhazen, obviously been around for ages, but feels like he's becoming a bit less the bridesmaid in that South Africa team. He's, as an Exeter fan who watched him just murder Chiefs on a million occasions playing for Harlequins, always send a bit of a shiver down the spine, that name. Cool. I think all we can do, Rob, is try and get one of those shirts, look forward to it, and hope we get out of the country through the passport control thing.
Yeah.
Or not, as it went last year. Yeah, Jet Van Set, definitely. Okay, we'll be back in a sec, rounded off with some Pro D2 and Nationale and a few Petit Fours. Okay, Rob. Pro D2 was back, as was. Should we do a bit of Nationale first? I feel like we haven't mentioned that for a few weeks. So there were, looking at the league now, Narbonne at top, just ahead of Chambéry, and you got the peloton behind it: Nice, Périgueux, Albi, Massy. But a couple of interesting results. Bourg-en-Bresse beat Nice at home. Chambéry beat Massy. Niort beat Tarbes, who are fully rooted to the bottom of the table currently. Arguably, the most eye-catching result was the team who are just above them, Bourgoin, who beat Rouen away to end a string of 7 successive defeats since the first game of the season, which was pretty impressive. Our boys Perpignan won away in Paris at Suresnes. Narbonne snuck past Albi 27-23 at home. And then I suppose our boys as well, the team with a bit of a soft spot led by Danny Antonez, who scored a try and I think 20 of the 23 points, also 18 of the 23 points in Marcon Baruel's win over Rennes. They won 23-22. So, yeah, haven't got too much more to say on that. But a couple of turn-ups.
He scores loads of points, doesn't he?
Yeah, last year he was hitting some sort of genuine freakish numbers. I think he also... I feel like there was a game last year where I think he scored it was like 41-20 and he scored all the points. It was like hat tricks, drop goals, everything. But yes, that was very cool. No sign still of Victor Fee Ballas Burel, but I did see on Instagram he was in Marrakesh the other day. So nice. Yeah, hopefully recovering well from whatever ailment he's had there. Yeah, Pro D2 Angoulême got the round off to a decent start. Did you catch a little bit of this?
Yeah, I've seen this. Our boys, I thought they were pretty good. They played some lovely attacking rugby. The Jules Lebec try is amazing. The Paul Berger's try at the start is pretty good. Kind of vintage Sax V from last year of just someone fix it in the middle and then just an absolute gas on the loop around. But yeah, it was an interesting game, this, I thought, because Grenoble had the power and at various times it looked like they were going to kind of steamroller Sax V at scrum time, but Sax V kind of kept fighting back, and I thought their defence in the last period was superb. I think the absolute standout player in this game was George Tilsley. He was unbelievable in terms of the work he was doing in attack and defence, and just everything rotates around him in terms of him being the focal point for that attack. But yeah, and I thought Farmasuli, if I've got his name right, was excellent as well. I hadn't quite realised quite his pedigree, I think. He was in the 2023 World Cup squad for Australia, Farmasuli.
Yeah, I know it was quite...
Even though he got a sin bin, he was, outside of that, he was brilliant. Well, yeah, it was the odd penalty for prop stuff, but his work rate, his carrying and his defence, he was everywhere. And he set up a try for Alexis Levron, which was really nice, little hands around the fringes. So, yeah, proper good pick-up that. Played a lot of rugby for Moana Pacifica last year. You know, Australian international. I hadn't quite realised just how good quite the levels he'd played at before. I thought he was just a kind of another journeyman Aussie.
It was quite a standout signing, particularly as a medical joker. You would think someone of that pedigree would have been wrapped up elsewhere. But yeah,
on the other side, Sami Zuhair had a great game and he put in a proper shift. He played the vast majority of the game. He was brilliant.
Nice. Quite a few blowouts this week as well. So Argen nilled Dax 31-0. Van, who for their fixture in 2 weeks, it was confirmed in the week, have sold out Rochelle Park in Rennes. 30,000 folk will be there against Grenoble. They beat Valence Romans 64-10.
Valence Romans, who made an interesting 15 changes to their starting 15 from the week before. We commended Van previously for sending a strong side down to Colomiers and showing the strength of the league by showing they mean business. That from Valence Romans is pathetic.
Bit of a pace thing.
That is, to make 15 changes is shameful. They deserve the pasting that they got.
Yeah, it's always going to happen. I think we'll see, as we've said a few times, Van are, I think, going to be pretty much impenetrable at home, so teams will just go. Yeah, maybe we'll keep an eye out, see what the most changes, see if anything goes beyond 15 in the next few rounds.
That was the starting lineup, so I've got no idea across the 23. That was just the starting lineup. I don't know if it counted the subs.
Oh, what? They changed the entire
They changed the entire 15, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise that. I thought it was 15 out of the 23.
No. It was 15 out of 15.
Oh, wow. Fair play. Yeah, you'd struggle to change more than that. That's a decent effort. Yeah. Wow, okay. The other massive blowout was Mont-de-Marsan, who...
Unreal.
Have had a bit of a strange start to the season. Previously, only won 2 games, albeit against Van and Grenoble.
And Nevers were fourth coming into this.
71-10 against Nevers is, quite something. Do we know how many changes? I mean, Nevers, I don't think have won on the road this year. So I'm guessing there were a few changes in
Wasn't
this,
dreadful.
but regardless,
There was a debut for Nevers for our first
there
ever
was.
pod guest, Zach Farrance. His brother Bo was on a few weeks back, if you listen to that. There were 8 changes for Nevers.
Wow, so that is just a straight up drubbing, isn't it? There's no...
And Mont-de-Marsan made 7. They did have at fly half Iban Leclau, 21-year-old fly half, steering the ship instead of Willie Duplessis.
Oh, wow.
So one of many young fly halves knocking around in Pro D2. I counted there were 8, I reckon, 8 or 9. Half the teams had a fly half 23 or younger as their starting fly half.
Interesting.
Paul Burgess for Swingometer, I thought was excellent. Guy who made his debut the week before off the bench for Botica in that win against at Brive, which looks slightly less impressive now. But to also then play the full 80 in a win against a team like Grenoble, slotted a drop goal. It was a wobbly thing, but yeah, he's still sitting back in the pocket with men in the bin to cheer up the clock. Like I thought his kick game was brilliant. Like he scored a try. Yeah. Maybe
nice.
surely if you're a scout, you just go to the Stade Toulousain Academy and think, yeah, he'll do.
This guy will probably be okay. Yeah.
This guy's probably going to be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. The other sort of, I guess, well, they're maybe not blowouts, but very convincing. 2 sides that have had pretty troublesome weeks in recent times. Béziers lost at home 43-22 to Colomiers, who are obviously in fantastic form. But I think, is that 2 on the spin at home? Béziers have lost now.
Yeah.
Previously lost to Valence, didn't they? So they are, there've been a few heads rolling there. Provence very comfortable 25-3 against Brive. And it does seem like there's some real machinations going on at Brive with fans really, really unhappy with how things are going currently. Kind of discussions fallouts between staff and the president and things like that. There's a X account, a Twitter account called Allez Brive. And I'll be honest, they've been really struggling to keep up with the amount of stuff they're putting out. But yeah, worth a look because, I mean, obviously it is a single account, but yeah, it sounds like all is not particularly happy currently. And at a club with such high expectations, and who have obviously spent not insignificant sums on some fairly big name players as well. It doesn't seem to be going particularly smoothly, I think it's fair to say.
No. They've only scored 1 try in the last 2 games.
Crazy.
Which is good.
Who have we missed?
They were down to 13 at one point. There was a orange card for Sacha Gay, and then I think it was only Herbst. Basically, like a few minutes later, almost did exactly the same thing. There was a load of cards for that, and I thought he was quite lucky not to get an orange or a red, so to get away with only a yellow. Yeah. And Provence were just powerful, like we kind of expected to see.
Yeah, very good.
Vino.
Yeah, he's class, isn't he? Such a good player. The Lac snuck past Oyonnax 22-20. Oyonnax's ability to lose narrow ones continues apace.
Amazing, isn't it?
And then the narrowest of them all, draw. First draw of the year in Pro D2? No, first game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
First game, Brive. 23 all, Carcassonne, Biarritz. I've been trying to find like the end of this game because the Carcassonne Twitter account was very keen to point out that I think Johnny McPhillips had a kick to win it at the end, but it was basically blown backwards by the wind was the translation that I saw. So I don't know how true that is. Maybe it was just from miles away, but yeah, decent couple of points for Biarritz if nothing else.
I had them to win that one. So
Carcassonne as well.
It was quite a tough one to call that one, I thought.
Yeah. Carcassonne, who've just this evening announced the signing of a man we met a few weeks ago. Big Irishman Frank Bradshaw Ryan is on loan from Montauban until the end of the year.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. Another good stash team, importantly.
Yeah.
All right. I think that rounds us off. Anything to mention ahead of this week? Grenoble again will be on FR UK against Béziers.
In a row, Grenoble.
Blimey. And I think in a couple of weeks after that as well, I think it's seeing a lot of Grenoble and Colomiers in the next few weeks.
Nice.
For fans of live Pro D2. Dax Carcassonne.
That could be a bit of a blowout, that Grenoble-Béziers game.
Yeah, the way things are going currently.
Béziers are struggling, but no, they were dreadful. We've got to build it up. Build it up for us, Rich? How can you? What should people look forward to about that game?
Could we see Sam Davis back for that game?
Could be. He could be on the bench. I don't think he'll start. Or maybe he will at home. I don't know. That would be very cool. That would definitely be worth watching.
Yeah. No, it'll be, Béziers, Pro D2, expect the unexpected. It could be extraordinary. So it's always worth tuning in. Okay. Should we leave Pro D2 there? We'll have plenty to talk about next week.
Colomiers v Provence is huge. And Nevers hosting Vannes is quite an interesting one.
Oh, yeah.
Nevers have been very good at home this season. So a couple of crackers.
Yeah, that's a proper fixture. Vannes as well, who, I don't know if this is confirmed, but Cyril Blanchard, their hooker, was injured quite badly, I think, in the win over Colomiers. And they were looking at bringing in Victor Mongaillard, who is so highly rated at Perpignan, but has kind of gone off the sort of definitely fallen down the pecking order. So that could be a shrewd medical joker. Cool. All right, Rob, let's go straight into the Petit Fours. We're running low on time. You're already yawning. You've made it very clear that you want to be elsewhere. I haven't got masses. I've got one.
I was looking at Pro D2 fixtures. I think there's some crackers next week.
Have you got too much? We've already mentioned Remy Martin's son. That's pretty cool. There's obviously also a lot of French interest or French league interest in across the autumn internationals, like Fiji, England, and Portugal with lots of representation. One of the standout ones though is Samuel Azalea of Stade Francais. Looks like he's going to play for Spain for the first time since the under-18s, which is
nice.
Which is very cool.
That's really cool. No, although we didn't mention the fact that France have basically put like some sort of ban on their training camp to prevent journalists from getting too much information.
I have that.
Because they restricted access because they were worried they were getting spied on by South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I think the South Africa under-20s team was based at Marcoussis, the training base, something like that.
Oh, and they've left alone.
They're normally very open. So
yeah,
the journalists are normally allowed to watch a full training session apart from filming line-out calls, which would be quite a rogue thing for a journalist to be doing anyway. But last week, they were told they could only stay for 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because there was basically
bit of siege mentality stuff going on.
Because there was some South African under-20s people there. They thought it was going to be reported back to Rassie Erasmus.
Oh, there we go.
One for another time, Richard, but I have started compiling my Fit 15 as we discussed.
Interesting.
But yeah. And Georgie Javaki signed for Toulon.
Yeah, big good medical joker.
Grenoble. I was thinking about that. That's probably
it's a big loss for Grenoble, that.
Well, yeah, especially when they've lost Thomas Leno, who I think is like the leading tackler was going into the weekend, the leading tackler in the top 14, who also ran their line out. So no wonder they've basically lost their three, because Piers Phillips moved to Rouen. So they basically lost their three first choice second rows. I'm not sure how many teams could lose their three first choice second rows and still expect to be as good as they were.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Two
Mathis Barre, that's something to get excited about on Thursday. I thought he was excellent. I want to see more of him. He was amazing for Grenoble.
Interesting.
And hopefully see a little bit more of Samuel Bielbiaré. Didn't see much of him, unfortunately.
That would be nice. Two final Petit Fours to round out, neither of which are rugby related really, but one is weekend before last we missed out on the Espelette Pepper Festival in Espelette down in the Basque Country. So one to add to the list to know it's at the end of October. So for future sort of Basque centric rugby trips. And the other one is, again, nothing to do with rugby, but in the village of Saint-Julien-de-Pointe, which is, I think the nearest rugby place is Montpellier. It's kind of decent crack north of there. A gentleman, 77-year-old gentleman, fell off his bike down a 130-foot ravine, was stranded for 4 days, pretty badly injured, hypothermia, etc. Was eventually rescued and survived 4 days in the wilderness by drinking red wine that he picked up from the shop before he fell off his bike. So there's a moral in there. There's a moral of the story is make sure you always have some emergency red wine in case you fall off a cliff.
Wow.
On that note, Rob, we're pretty much at time. Follow us at Rosbiff Rugby. Email us robbiffrugby@gmail.com. We'll see you hopefully in Paris. Don't forget to bring the emergency red wine.
Yeah.
And to everyone else, au revoir.
Au revoir.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
All right, remember, the machine knows if you're lying. First statement, Carvana will give you a real offer on your car all online.
False.
True, actually. You can sell your car in minutes.
False? That's gotta be...
True again. Carvana will pick up your car from your door, or you can drop it off at one of their car vending machines.
Sounds too good to be true, so true.
Finally caught on. Nice job. Honesty isn't just their policy, it's their entire model. Sell your car today, too.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.